Now, the Namibia Revenue Agency is carrying out a tax amnesty program, and the program has been running, that is from the 1st of April last year and will continue until the 31st of October this year. Now, joining us to share more insight on this is the Chief Strategic Communications and Support Engagements, Yaruke Kuro Ndorokade. Good evening, Ndorokade, and welcome to the show.
Yes, good evening, and thank you for the opportunity. And I bring greetings from the Namibia Revenue Agency.
All right. Now, talk to us about the primary objectives of the tax amnesty program implemented, that is by the Namibia Revenue Agency.
Well, the primary goal of this program really has to do with the tax debt that has accrued over the years, and the realization that a window needs to be created to ensure that those with tax debt actually do get relief. And it comes in a way that the current one, on the payment of the capital tax debt, 100% of interest and penalties are waived. So it's really an opportunity for taxpayers with outstanding tax accounts.
All right. Can you perhaps just provide more details on the eligibility criteria for taxpayers to participate in the tax amnesty program?
Thank you so much for that part. And it's very simple. The requirement is that a taxpayer that is owing, that means there is a tax amount that is due, whether it's in capital or interest or penalties, would then need to register as an e-filer. That means you are registering on our tax administration system, and that's ITAS. And once you have settled your tax debt, you would then also apply to be part of the tax amnesty. And once you have done that, what the system does without you requiring to do would be that your interest and penalties will then be waived. And what it means is that it now brings your account and makes it very current. And that's really what needs to happen. So what are the requirements? You must be a taxpayer with an outstanding tax debt, and you must register as an e-filer. And on payment of capital, the interest and penalties, whatever amount that would be outstanding, would then be waived.
All right. Talk to us about the types of taxes or liabilities that are actually covered under this program, and equally, are there any specific sectors or industries targeted for participation in this program?
Well, like we're indicating, is really any tax debt that accrues to a taxpayer. That's the one that one would qualify for. And as we have indicated on a number of occasions, by about a month ago, tax debt stood at about 76 billion Namibia dollars. That's the total tax debt. And when you look at it, about 17 billion is actually the capital, whereas the balance of that is in either penalties or interest. And the idea is that on the payment of the capital, and that's really the amount that we're after, which is around the 17 billion that we want to collect. Once we have collected that, the balance of that would then be waived, of course, on receipt of the tax debt being paid. That's really what we're looking at. So it cuts across all tax types, where there is an outstanding tax amount of which the taxpayers then stand to benefit.
All right. Now, how is the agency ensuring compliance and preventing abuse of the tax amnesty program?
Well, we do not anticipate any abuse because this is a very targeted approach. Who does it target? It targets taxpayers with outstanding debts. So what it tells you is that you must be a taxpayer, the first requirement, and there must be a tax amount owing on your account. And on that, and what you would then need to do to qualify or to satisfy the primary requirement is that you must make a payment in respect of the capital amount. And once that payment has been made and received, the next one would be that you would then apply on the system itself without any intervention with anybody. On the system itself, you then apply to participate in the tax amnesty. And because your account now shows that the tax debt has been paid, on applying to be part of the tax amnesty, your penalties and interest are then waived. So there is really no intervention, no room for any abuse of any sort. And it's really, like I said, it's really targeting those with tax debt. And I indicated that with a tax debt of about 76 billion, what we are after as the Namibia Revenue Agency is really the capital amount, which by last indication was around 17 billion Namibia dollars.
All right. Now, how does the tax amnesty program fit into the broader tax enforcement and compliance strategy for NamRa?
Yes, it does, because for us, compliance has got 4 elements. One, a taxpayer must be registered Two, a taxpayer must render their returns as and when they fall due. They must ensure that whatever they have submitted is very accurate and real and authentic. And four, they must then pay the amount that is outstanding in respect of that tax account. Now, when you look at it, those are the elements that are covered by the tax amnesty that I've just indicated to you. That obviously there is a need for compliance, for registration. There is a need for ensuring that the returns are up to date. And then there is a need to ensure that whatever has been stated is accurate, and payment, commensurate or corresponding payment then follows that. What it now does, because we have seen that owing to the amount that is outstanding in terms of tax debt, it renders many taxpayers non-compliant. But on the payment of that account, or those amounts, and on the remission of the relevant returns, it would then convert them into compliant taxpayers. So it really goes a long way in ensuring that people are compliant. Because often, as we engage, as we do our various stakeholders engagement, you would see people engaging us, and they'll be telling us that we really want to comply. However, the amount that has accrued or accumulated over the years makes it impossible for us to comply. And we're saying there is an answer to that, and the answer is the ongoing tax amnesty, where on payment of the capital, your interest and penalties would be waived. And that's also the experience that you get from taxpayers to say, I don't have a problem paying the tax debt, the principal amount. However, when you look at what has now accumulated in interest and penalties, it makes it very difficult or impossible for me to settle my tax account. And we are saying, now you no longer have to worry about the penalties or the interest, assuming you have paid your capital tax debt in full.
Right now, Ndorokade, what measures are in place to communicate the benefits of the tax amnesty program to eligible taxpayers effectively?
You will be aware that with the announcement of this by the minister last year, February, we have really embarked on a serious campaign on popularizing this program, which has now run for a good 12 months now. What remains now is the 7 months before the program ends, which is the 31st of October. And that the promotion and the campaign around that is we are not about to relent on it. We're actually just going to intensify. And by that, we're hoping that would then attract those that are qualified. You would have also seen that on various platforms, be it TV, radio, and newspapers, we ensure that there is presence there and article or anything that speaks to the program, so that those that feel they really want to participate in this have the relevant information and are able to participate. As you would recall, the minister also indicated that this would be the last such amnesty being granted. After this, there would be no other. So at the end of it, you do not want people showing up and telling you, had I known, I would have participated. So you want to popularize it as much as possible. And this interview that you and I are having now is one way of ensuring that that message gets to all of those that qualify, even those that do not qualify, because it could be that you, as it is, you have a tax amount for which you do not have funds for. But we have seen other people who have made arrangement to say, in the meantime, I'm going to find funding elsewhere so that I can settle this amount. As I'm able to settle this, it actually allows me to do other economic activities where, for instance, a good standing certificate, a tax good standing certificate is required, and therefore you are able to participate in economic activities. We have seen people making those arrangements, and that's really what we are appealing to ensure that those that are qualified, those that are interested, do participate while time is still with us.
All right. Now, are there any projected revenue impacts or goals associated, that is, with this program?
Please repeat the question again.
Are there any projected revenue impacts or goals associated with the tax amnesty program?
No, not really, because you remember I indicated to you there's a fixed amount that is owing, and that's the amount that needs to be collected. And like I indicated by last indication, our tax debt stood at around 17 billion. Now, as it relates to what is outstanding in tax debt, it would be, assuming all the payments were to be made today, it would only be that amount. And that really does not speak to whether the annual targets that we get as a revenue agency of amounts that we must collect. But definitely, as it relates to this one, that's the particular amount that we are. if everybody who is owing were to pay what is due in capital tax debt, that's the amount that we're looking at, ensuring that it flows in. Whereas while we do so, the balance of that, which is somewhere closer to 50 billion, would then be written off in penalties and interest. But certainly it's something that we want to collect, and we want to ensure that we collect at optimal levels. Of course, we are also alive to the fact that part of that debt would have been outstanding for a number of years, and it might be in respect of persons, taxpayers, businesses that might no longer be in operation. But that's a smaller fraction of it. The bulk of it, in our view, is still an amount that could be collected.
Well, Dorokade, before we let you go, is there anything that you left out? Any final remarks?
Yes, it's really that humble appeal that we extend to all qualifying taxpayers to say, please do make use of this opportunity so that you can be current and up to date with your tax account. It is important that you do so because when a tax debt remains accruing, at a point or another, because it does not prescribe, at one point or another, it would come and affect your finances at a time when you least expect. So when you have the resources, well, you can make the arrangement. The appeal is really to say, do seize the opportunity and make use of that. And I must indicate that in terms of, to your earlier question around what are some of the popularization initiatives that we are undertaking to ensure that the message spreads, one activity that we are also having, which is an event that is taking place tomorrow, is NamRa Talks. And what NamRa Talks does, it really presents an opportunity where people talk about their tax affairs and the like. And also the tax amnesty is one of those messages that we also share on platforms like that. So we would also call on people, if there are people who are saying we would want to participate, but we don't have fuller details, we would say an avenue like NamRa Talks, which happens tomorrow at 6 in the afternoon, is one good opportunity that others could also then join in and get to appreciate what the details are around that. But other than that, we're really saying, as it has been indicated, this is an opportunity that might never return, and therefore that those that are qualifying, those who tax debt, we would really want to appeal on them to make use of this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for that update.
Thank you very much, and we really appreciate the opportunity.
All right, now that is Chief Strategic Communications and Support Engagement, or rather of the Namibia Revenue Agency, Stephen Dorokade, just talking to us about the tax amnesty program that NamRa is carrying